8:15 right now, and the story everybody is talking about, as I've been telling you, the suspect in the shooting death of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson has been arrested, charged with murder. He was caught at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. It's about 250 miles away from Midtown Manhattan, where Brian Thompson was killed.
So how did police track him down? Manny Gomez is a former agent with the FBI and a former NYPD sergeant. He joins us now to weigh in on all of this and walk us through the investigation process. Manny, good morning. Thanks so much for being here. So how important were all of the images that the NYPD released to capture Luigi Mangione?
Well, it was great police work by the NYPD. They got to work right away, tirelessly, 24 hours a day. They were able to track down every step of Mangione's time in New York and before New York. They were able to piece it all together and eventually come up with these pictures, which led to his arrest yesterday at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. So exceptional work. And then they went a further step, and procedurally, they did the right thing so as not to taint the case. From the evidence collection to the entire process. And now we're in the process of getting him extradited from PA to New York to face a murder trial.
Yeah, and I want to ask you a question about the timeline and ending up in Altoona, right? It's 250 miles away from New York. It's 4 hours. But this almost happened a week ago. So talk about the moment he got on the bus. And did police lose sight of him until Altoona when somebody phoned it in and saying, we think we recognize him? And what's up with the location of it being not that far away from New York City and where the crime happened?
There was a timeline there where they put him on a bus at 178th Street Depot in Washington Heights, and they weren't quite sure where he had gone. They were following all the leads, and there was a little window there where they weren't quite sure. That being said, the pictures were out. I had every and all confidence that eventually there would be somebody that would come forward, recognize this person, either claim for claiming the reward, or for moral reasons would make a phone call and turn him in, as they did. But law enforcement did an amazing job in piecing everything together back from where he came into New York and stayed at the hostel.
Let me ask you this, Manny, because you're former FBI, right? So is it out of the realm of possibility that a suspect would go back to an area that he may have known, right? We don't know where exactly he may be from yet, but where exactly he was headed to, but he did go to the University of Pennsylvania. So could he have been headed to an area that he just may have been familiar with?
That's correct. We still don't know. We're still trying to get to the motive. Yesterday he was interrogated. We're not sure exactly what came forth of that interrogation. I'm sure there'll be more interrogations, this time with a lawyer present, given that he has been charged, so he has to due process. So we're still trying to find out what the motive is. Once we find out what the motive is, then we'll know exactly what his patterns are. I do believe he does want to say more. The fact that he came down with the bullets, that he had the Monopoly money in the backpack, these are all things indicating to me that this person wants to give a story. Obviously, he didn't do it for need. He comes from means. He's well-traveled. So this is a person that has an axe to grind. Exactly why, we'll get to the bottom of it.
We keep talking about great police work, and there's no doubt the NYPD does an amazing job at keeping the city safe. But if it wasn't for him slipping up, I would say, it was maybe Luigi's mistake of going into this McDonald's. He maybe should have been more private, and then he probably still would not be caught, correct?
Perhaps, but human nature is what it is. His vanity was the cause of the first picture where he put down the mask, apparently talking to a girl who asked him to, and then inevitably he was going to get caught once those pictures were out, because you can't live the rest of your life in hiding. And so this is a person that did what he did. He was either expecting to get caught, or maybe death by cop or suicide, what have you. That still remains to be seen. but this is a person that definitely has a message to send.
I think there's the question of how did we get to this point with him, right? And again, there's so much unknown, but when you look at his background, you mentioned some of it, coming from means, his family's well known, he was an Ivy League student, valedictorian of his high school class, lived in Hawaii for a while. When you look at what point does radicalization begin, or talk us through what exactly they're looking at now to get to how somebody who seemed to be completely normal, we spoke to one of his former roommates who said he was the nicest guy. How do you get to this point?
Yeah, well, being radicalized is a phenomenon in and of itself. The motivation, we have the manifesto, they're going through that manifesto, they're going through his emails, they're going through his phones, they're looking at everything and anything. They're interviewing his family, his friends, his colleagues, his schoolmates. They want to get to the bottom of what the motivation was, if he was radicalized, and if so, by whom and how, and if there were any accomplices. That still is out there. Did somebody help him in this crime? And the investigation is still ongoing. They just arrested him 24 hours or so ago, and there's a lot more that's going to come out in the not so far future.
All right, Manny Gomez, thank you so much for your time. We so appreciate your perspective.
Thank you.